Hello. We're affectionate and loving couple Eric and Amanda of Hit Subscribe. I'm sorry, I've been very indecisive today, and Eric is like, please, please get it together. Anyway, I'm feeling goofy today. It's Crazy Hair Thursday, and we're going to be talking about content marketing. So we're going to be talking about what it is, what it isn't. Thanks for tuning in. Without further ado, my loving husband will start by talking about what content marketing is.
All right. Well, why don't I start by talking, I guess, about what marketing is?
That's a great idea.
And I should clarify that neither Amanda nor me has, like, marketing isn't our background. Neither one of us is an MBA nor schooled in marketing. So we're sort of the self-taught variety. And like for me, I came to marketing, content marketing, which is what Hit Subscribe does, very squarely through the content angle. So all of that is to kind of qualify and say this is marketing as I've come to understand it in an applied fashion as a business owner, both for my consulting and for Hit Subscribe. And I would say it's kind of the idea of dividing the world into two buckets. You have people that are prospective buyers and people who aren't. And contrary to maybe popular belief, the customer isn't always right, and not everybody's going to be your customer. So the reason I'm mentioning all of that is the way I think of marketing is this like outward-looking pre-qualification of people to help you and to help them decide whether or not they're going to be your customer. So like for instance, we're in Austin and it's actually great here. It's like almost 80.
Yeah.
So yeah, enjoy that if you're up north.
Sorry. It's magical.
But here in Austin, they're really big on barbecue. They have delicious barbecue. So if we were going to open up a barbecue place and we were going to market to the general public, we would want to market to meat lovers. But what we wouldn't want to do is convince somehow vegetarians and vegans that they should come to our restaurant, because then they would do that and they would be unhappy and leave us bad reviews on Yelp. So there's this idea that you're pre-qualifying people as fits or not fits for your business. And that is really what marketing, in my mind, is dividing people into those buckets and then trying to bring in the ones that will resonate with what you're doing and, you know, to sort of politely invite the others to maybe look somewhere else for their needs. Content marketing, then, is a specific narrow set of that is focused on, well, not surprisingly, producing content. But unlike maybe what you might be familiar with traditional marketing, which is going to be, you know, mailers and events, raising brand awareness, Amanda slapping stickers of Hit Subscribe on things.
I did that.
All
Here,
that's kind of
downtown.
promotion, you know, to get people to understand and have
awareness.
associations with your brand. Content marketing is something different. You're producing content, and that content has value in and of itself, and that is a critical differentiator versus what you might be doing that, you know, Amanda might speak to here, which is not content marketing.
No.
You are producing something that has value that you could theoretically sell, but you're not going to. You're writing a white paper, producing a video or a Facebook Live, as it were, that explains something to people that people would consume. And you are assuming that the value will come later. So if we were opening this barbecue restaurant, we might produce something on our blog or put something out in the world that was like, here are our top 10 favorite steak recipes. So you would consume that if you were a steak lover. You would read that out of your own interest. And we could sell that, but we don't. And the reason that we're doing this is it's kind of a long play to get people to associate your brand with value and to frankly start to trust you and to self-select, you know, do I like this content? Do I like this brand or not? And so content marketing in the broadest sense is the delivery of that information, the delivery of that value, operating under the assumption that the people who enjoy it will potentially become your customers.
Yeah, and you can probably think of examples of this in your life too. Like I'm trying to think, you know, professionally, I'm really interested in the kind of like blog posts that say ACES, or the American Copy Editor Society, puts out. I know they also would like me to become a member of their society and that they have something that they'd like, you know, me to do, but they don't pressure me to do that with their blog posts. They might mention it every once in a while, but the real thing is like, here's this free value. Here's like, what's changed in the Chicago Manual of Style in the newest update. Here's the difference between AP style and Chicago style. So just kind of giving out stuff that's valuable helps me keep on kind of the top of my game. And I know in the back of my mind that, like, if I were to join any kind of editorial society, this would be the one, because they give me information that's valuable. And I'm sure you have something like this in your life too, where it's a company, you know that they'd sell something, you haven't bought it yet, but if you were going to buy it, you'd probably go to them because you really enjoy and trust the information that they put out.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is a big thing. So Hit Subscribe is helping companies do this. We help companies that market things to software developers reach software developers. So we produce a lot of content in and around software development topics. So you can see my shirt. I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm wearing a C# shirt. That's a Microsoft technology. So we have a number of clients that make...
Hashtag ad. Sorry. Good.
That would not be content marketing.
That would not be content marketing.
We have a lot of clients that make products that are related to kind of the Microsoft ecosystem of development technologies. And we will at times write blog posts for them that are, hey, here are some reasons that this tool that we're selling is cool. But we also just write general blog posts about how to do things in C#. And the idea there is those clients that we're helping, they want to become trusted, and they want to be viewed as reputable sources of information about the specific thing they're helping developers do, but also all the topics around it. It's about building trust. That's true whether it's our barbecue place or whether it's Hit Subscribe's clients. And that makes for an interesting segue into what isn't content marketing,
right?
Which is something we bump into, especially with people, and I empathize with this because this would have been me if I had started a product company. Technical founders that don't know what marketing is often tend to want to just beat you over the head with all the reasons you should buy their product and lists of their features. That tends not to be content marketing. And if you're watching this, you can probably relate. What we're talking about here is sales. Here's 8 things that are great about what I'm trying to sell. Now, do you want to buy it?
Mm-hmm.
That is not content marketing because there is no value to that.
Right.
Well,
there's a fine line here.
If the product can help the user, I guess there's value.
There's a fine line because
there's no leading free value.
Right.
You're not giving them information or helping them in any other way than inviting them to give you money.
Right. So something you might be thinking is, like, I'm being like really earnest here. I have this product. I know it's going to help you. I know that you have these problems. If you have these problems and you're typing in these problems into Google, I want you to come and realize that my product's here to help you. And that is kind of like the line where it's sort of content marketing, but sort of isn't, because you haven't really built any trust with them yet. You know what I mean? If somebody comes to a page and they're looking for a solution to a problem, what they're probably not looking to do is just blindly give you a bunch of money. I mean, maybe some people are.
So here's like a litmus test that I kind of use mentally to differentiate whether what you're doing is content marketing or not. Could you take the content you're producing and conceivably sell it for some amount of money and have people pay for it?
Yep.
So, for instance, if we were writing that article about the top 10 ways to barbecue a steak, there are people out there that might pay a couple of bucks to have that information.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't depend on coming to our restaurant at all.
Right.
Now, if we were opening this restaurant and we wrote something like the top 10 reasons that Eric and Amanda have the best barbecue and you should come eat, there's nobody that's going to pay for that.
I'll pay you $50 for that, sir.
Nobody pays you to pitch them.
So there are a lot of people that believe that content marketing is just lots of blog posts that are meant to sell their product, talk about how their product could be used, talk about how their product, can fit this scenario, that scenario, talk about all the different ways that their product can solve all these different problems. And you've probably had this experience too, where you pop on something and if you see that, a blog post is just shilling a product, you don't trust them. I mean, and you don't really believe the information that they're putting out necessarily either. You certainly take it with a grain of salt. So content marketing is not a bunch of blog posts trying to sell your product. That's just not what it is.
And you might then wonder, okay, where does the jump happen from free value to the actual sales process?
Mm-hmm.
There are, this is getting a little in depth for the shop talk, but there's this concept of a marketing funnel,
Mm-hmm.
and there are different sorts of blog posts and different kinds of content.
Mm-hmm.
The funnel is very wide at the top, and that's where you want to be producing stuff that really isn't shilling for anything. But you will then occasionally on your blog or through some other form of content put out something that says, hey, as long as you're doing all these things, as long as you're doing all of this barbecuing, we do sell this barbecue sauce out of our restaurant. If you want to come in, it is a great accentuation to these 4 recipes. So
Or subscribe.
there is room
more.
for that, and the whole thing would be considered content marketing. But I guess what we'd say is if you're doing nothing but those bottom of the funnel things, which means that you're at the point where you're taking people who you have theoretically built trust with and trying to get them to engage with you, if that's all you're doing, you're not really content marketing. You're kind of doing 10% and maybe the worst 10%.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to pick any of it, build the audience, build the trust at the top of the funnel, because you can always, capitalize on that trust later. And it isn't a sleazy thing. Like we were talking about in the beginning, you're trying to divide the world between people you can help and people you can't by building trust. So by the time they've been following you and reading your recipes and believing in all this stuff you're doing, a lot of times they want to give you money.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're doing with effective content marketing is eliminating sleazy sales.
Yeah.
Once you've got this audience that trusts you, they will know for themselves whether your offering can help them or not, and they'll make that decision. You don't have to go pitch them. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
I honestly think of content marketing as the best faith kind of marketing. Like, we're not asking anything of you. Here's this free stuff. We want to establish goodwill with you. We want to establish trust with you, and we're willing to give you this stuff for free because we want to do that. I mean, there's also a feeling like we want to be known as the expert in our field. We want to know that you can come to us and trust us. I don't know. I just I think of marketing very differently now that I know more about it than I did when I first started encountering it. It really isn't sleazy, or like it can be sleazy, but I don't think what we're doing is sleazy. I would be morally opposed to sleaze. We should say one last thing, and we should have probably opened with this. Content marketing, when I first heard content marketing, I thought that it meant that you have some content and you're trying to figure out how to market it. It's not the same thing. It's not that actually, because we call ourselves a content marketing firm, originally I might have thought that meant like, well, we have a bunch of content, so let's contact some people that know how to tweet about that content. Like it's not actually marketing the content, we're creating the content.
Content marketing,
going back to basics,
is a long play, by the way, so
that's another good point too.
It might be a good note to close on. Like, we're talking about all this and you might think like, well, that's all great, you give away all this free value, why would I pay for that? When does it pay off? It is the kind of thing that's usually happening over years, more than months, certainly not weeks or days. So you have to kind of be showing up and creating all this content. And if you do it right, you will gain an audience and a following, and those people will trust you, engage with your brand, buy what you're selling. But it's a long game.
Maybe also important is Google will start to trust you, and Google will start to give you credit when people are searching for things. But that's a whole nother...
Assuming that content is blog posts.
Okay, that's true. All right, well, okay.
So that's kind of the 10,000-foot view of what Hit Subscribe does, content marketing, and what it is. And we've got a number of people earning good side hustles and livings doing it, and it's fun work. I mean,
it is fun work.
Enjoyable to produce content.
Yeah, this is best job of my life. Having a great time.
So I guess tune in next week. I don't yet know what we'll be talking about, but hopefully it will be this nice out and we can come to you again from somewhere sunny.
Yeah, maybe we can stream from the next tier. Let's show the next tier. We also have another tier.
Yeah, this house has a crow's nest that looks out on a lake. So.
Yeah, it was advertised as being like a tree house, and then we got here and I'm like, it is like a tree house. How delightful. All right, well. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yep, we'll catch you next time.